latest and greatest TikTok quad exercise is now in full form, everyone. Is it actually worth any of the hype? Many of you may be surprised by this, but I actually think it's a solid quad option. Before you make judgments just because it looks kind of silly, let's break down the mechanics. First of all, the Smith machine bar is placed directly onto the thigh, which means it exerts a direct downward force on the femur. And what this does is it just magnifies the force from the ground pushing upward. So if the femur or leg is getting pushed downward and the shin or tibia is getting pushed upward, you end up with this kind of closing effect at the knee joint. You can think about these two leg bones as a pair of scissors. Any exercise that really loads your quads is going to close these two bones together like a pair of scissors. And in this comparison, the top scissor is the femur and the bottom scissor is the shin. And what the quads do is they basically just open the scissors. So how is this variation different from any other squatting variation? Well, in a traditional looking squat, the knee goes from a more bent position to a more straight position, and the hip goes from a more bent position to a more straight position. But that is not what this variation is meant for. As you push out of the bottom, the torso and the hips are meant to tip over so that, as you'll notice here, the hip angle and the spine angle do not change at all. And so what this allows for is basically just something that looks more like a tipping, where you're purely isolating knee motion pretty much as compared to anything else. So while there is still some hip involvement from the glutes, it's very, very minimal, and this is kind of comparable to a closed chain leg extension exercise. Now, the oldest video that I could find on this exercise is from this guy, Joe Daniels, shout out to him. And here he is demonstrating the execution of this particular motion. What you'll notice again is his torso and his hips basically just tip forward as he straightens and bends his knee under the load of the bar. Now, is this exercise better than traditional alternatives like hack squats and leg presses and leg extensions? No, it's just another potential tool to add to your tool belt of exercises. In my personal opinion, it kind of seems like at some point the load on your thighs would start to get a little bit uncomfortable. The setup seems maybe a little bit impractical for very, very strong people to get into. Though I could be totally wrong about this because this is not an exercise that I have been doing for any length of time. So if you've been doing it for any length of time, please leave your thoughts below so that I can learn from your experience.